Hey guys, this is Mel, and I'm back to talk about Legacies, episode 213, titled You Can't Save Them All, which premiered Thursday, February 13th, 2020 on the CW. I'm recording a few hours after the episode is aired. It's 11:50 for me right now as I'm starting. So huge spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the episode already, please go do so first, and then come back and see what I have to say about the episode. Otherwise, my other video reminders are up on screen, so take a moment to remind yourselves of those. I'm going to try to do this in 20 minutes. I don't have the timer with me this time just because I have a bunch of other things recording in the background that need the system that the timer is on. But anyway, I digress. But anyways, I'm going to try for 20. So hopefully by the time it's like 12:10 in the morning, I'll be done. But we'll go. Let's start the imaginary clock now. And let's begin with what happened in this episode. So episode quote, "You can't say them all," was said by Kai Parker to Hope. In this time, when you really put her in a predicament of pretty much picking which is she going to save, which is clever of him. Timeline wise though, okay, the way I see it, this continues from 212 in regards to the prison world characters, but it's the day after the events of 211, which is our boarding school characters, I think. I'm pretty sure that's how timeline wise works, but there's that. Episode reminder is the fact that this is Kai Parker's second episode appearance of his 2-episode story arc. He did not disappoint, that was for sure. Because of that, though, the feature creature is not a Malivore creature. It is Kai Parker the Heretic teaming up with the Necromancer. So I guess you can kind of count the Necromancer in that sense. So there's that. You can kind of count his zombie as well, too. And then you could kind of count Dark Josie, but in this episode, she was more on our side, so I don't really know if I should count her as a featured creature. But anyways, there's that. Episode breakdown. I did pick up on 3 specific storylines. A lot did happen in this episode. So the first one is escaping the prison world. Second is true freedom. And the third one is tracking down the lost armory. Or I should say weapons, lost weaponry. With first storyline dealing with the prison world, we do see Dark Josie doing a lot. She restores Jade's humanity. She purges their memories of the Malivore spell that has them all forgetting about Kai. So now they remember Kai again. And then she also opens a door to leave the prison world, which ultimately makes Sebastian the new anchor of the prison world. But in doing so, it resulted in its instability and the destruction of it, which I will talk about later. Second storyline, True Freedom, is in particular more towards Kai, because he manipulates pretty much everyone in order to get his ultimate goal, which is to unlink himself from the prison world. And in doing so, that is what would have caused the collapse of it, since it was originally created for him. In doing so, he compelled Dorian to take Landon to I'm assuming it's Chad, but we just see a red cloak figure who is about to shoot the golden arrow at Landon. So that's one leverage part there. And then the second one was that he used Alyssa Chang to unlink him from the Ascendant in the prison world. But she does not know that in doing so, that would result in the destruction of the prison world and everybody who was stuck inside there as well. So he uses those 2 different leverage points to kind of tether Hope or tugging Hope in, trying to figure out, well, which am I going to save? Am I going to save my boyfriend, or am I going to save the people in the prison world, type of thing. So there is that. Also, I just want to say I kind of should have figured, because this is very reminiscent of Kai wanting to unlink himself from the prison world, and in doing so, it would destroy the prison world in itself. If you remember back to season 6 of the Vampire Diaries, I don't know if it's a far stretch to even make this comparison, but Kai was the leader of the Gemini Coven. And when he killed himself to become a vampire, he ultimately, that role of him as the leader in his death resulted in the entire Gemini Coven dying. So essentially, it's kind of in the same sense here, where he's in a position of power where that link being severed. In that previous one, it was him dying. This one, it's the unlinking from the prison world is going to result in the bigger masses of that scenario being destroyed. So prison world, the Gemini Coven. So I should have figured it. I just realized it now, but that's like Kai's MO. So there's that. Now, in regards to the tracking of the lost weaponry that was stolen previously by Polthos. We get MG, Caleb, and Jed being tasked to find the missing weapons that were taken through this magical two-piece compass, where they had one half and the other half was in the box with all the weapons that were just taken. So they were tasked to find its other half, which led them to the necromancer zombie, which they killed, but right near the spot where they did so, MG could hear someone in that little trailer park thing, and it turned up being Raphael, bound and gagged and knocked out. So glad to see him back. Too bad it was under these circumstances, but at least he's back at school, so there's that. Last scene of the episode showed Josie waking up and becoming Dark Josie once again. So once she returned from the prison world, she somehow became regular Josie again. But I guess once she went back to sleep, the Dark Josie kind of reemerged. That actually reminded me about the Travelers in season 5 of the Vampire Diaries, not only because of the black eyes taking over, but because of the whole fear, the fact that if you went to sleep, you weren't really sure if you're going to wake up as yourself or if the Traveler inside of you was going to be what was in control. Kind of gave me that kind of vibes in this last scene here, though. So there's that. Now, characters, we do have a bunch of characters, in not only in this episode, but just a lot of things we learned about them. So first off, Lizzie, she had one hell of a thing. Okay, we do see that she was affected by the dark magic that was inside Josie. Her eyes themselves went black as well when Alaric was taking her out of the crushed cop car, and it seemed that the dark magic that was in Lizzie was making her injuries worse, and it was reacting to the vampire blood that was in her system. At least that's my interpretation of it. So this led to Dark Josie having to siphon out the rest of the dark magic out of Lizzie, so that Lizzie could have a fighting chance against just the accident injuries and the vampire blood. So once the dark magic was out of Lizzie's body and fully into Josie's body, she collapsed. And then Alaric, well, she warned him that she would be knocked out for a bit because of it. But while he can't save Josie from that aspect, he, under the guidance of Jade, was able to operate on Lizzie and get her into stable condition so that she didn't have to die with vampire blood in her system. So there's that. And then we do see her a little less in the episode just because of her recovering, but at the very end we do see more of like astral projection Lizzie, and which I will get to in a moment. Kai Parker, we do see in the very end that he is beheaded by Alaric, so he is officially gone this time, I'm assuming, because there is no other side. There is no hell dimension from Cave, if you know season 8 of the Vampire Diaries, so maybe it's just the afterlife he goes to now that we've seen on both Vampire Diaries and the originals, or we've been alluded to, so who knows, but it seems like they've ended Kai's story in this sense. Although he was pretty fun trying to play the part of Joshua, the prison world expert, in just like the sweater vest and like having his like all the food he can eat type of thing, and just sniffing out like magical artifacts and like stuffed animals and stuff. So there's that. I will kind of miss him, but then at the same time I won't, because he was so unpredictable in like who he was going to portray or like how he was going to do it. So there's that. With the necromancer, we do see him constantly eluding the fact that he wants either Dark Josie or the magic, black magic within her, but he was using Kai to get to that. But now that she was back in the world, he didn't see Kai as any use to him anymore, which is kind of why he led him to Alaric's hands, essentially. But there's that. Sebastian and Diego, they are presumed dead alongside with the prison world's destruction. Again, it felt more like the destruction of the other side all over again that we got in this episode 522 of the Vampire Diaries, with the way that the world was shaking, how like you had like it was just like you got a sense of like this is end times type of thing. So there's that. Now Jade, I did mention briefly that she helped Alaric patch Josie, help guide Alaric in his surgery on Lizzie, since she, as a Ripper, could not actually physically operate on her. But we found out that she was training to be an EMT since she was 16, and she spent the last 10 years in the present world learning how to patch up wounds. And also, as I mentioned before, she has her humanity back thanks to Dark Josie's spell to unlock it again. So there's that. This one with MG, Caleb, and Jed, I'll do them all three together because they were all three involved. But they realized just what kind of love square that they're all in, because it seems that while Alyssa Chang is interested in MG, which he does not return the feelings for, it seems that both Caleb and Jed might have something for Alyssa Chang themselves. And MG was just getting a little bit of a kick out of that. So that was something there. With Dorian, we see him being compelled by Kai to kidnap Landon, yet at the very last minute, he figured out his compulsion loophole, and he ends up taking the golden arrow in his back, but he ended up getting to help in enough time to allow for him to actually recover the old-fashioned way, which is in the hospital. Which, speaking of, he was able to get help because Landon was able to fly long distances with his fiery new wings to get Dorian to some help, as opposed to Landon just running on foot and not being able to carry Dorian with him in enough time. So that was something there. Tidbit-wise, though, we do, again, Jade and Wendy are back at the school, while Diego was left in the prison world because he attacked Alaric just as they were trying to escape. That seems also very familiar to what happened in episode 522 of the Vampire Diaries, when they were trying to bring all the ghosts back before the other side collapsed. And Alaric was actually saved by Sebastian by him snapping the werewolf's neck. So there's that. We also get a sort of goodbye between Lizzie and Sebastian. Well, she keeps telling him to go to the Malivore pit and come through the portal. Sebastian knows that he's not going to make it in time, so it's kind of like a makeshift goodbye in a way, which was sad. But I guess that was his redeeming part after trying to forcibly have her drink vampire blood. Him taking Alaric's place and being the anchor to the prison world, and then just having that last moment with her that seemed to do it. So there's that. We also see MG wanting peace among the factions. He doesn't want their supernatural ancestors, like any of the beef between the vampires and the werewolves. He doesn't want any of that coming between the next generation. He even claims that he has a lot of wolf friends, though I'm still waiting for him to actually hang out with said wolf friends. I mean, we need more names to these other supernatural students. You know what I mean? So there's that. It also seems that the school is unaware of the necromancer's return or of the new Malivore pit that's potentially in the Salvatore crypt. So there's that. We do see the return of the Sphinx Riddle in this episode. Not only did the segment previously on kind of have the Sphinx reciting it while also having the relevant images superimposed with his voiceover. So it kind of either confirms certain things that we might have theorized, but specifically in this episode, they did focus more on the line of new hero rises but can be felled by the golden arrow. They were worried about how this could be landed, how the new hero rises literally refers to him having wings and being levitating, and then also the fear that the golden arrow just got stolen, so now they're worrying that that might be the thing against the Phoenix. We don't see if that's actually truly the case, but we do know that Dorian takes the hit. We just don't know if that golden arrow will do anything to humans, or if it's specifically only going to be reacting to what it's meant to kill. So there is that. So moving on to most shocking moment of the episode, I think for me it has to be MG finding Raphael as a prisoner who was grabbed by the Red Cloak. When he did, I wasn't expecting it. When he came upon the body in the trailer, I thought maybe it would be Landon, if anything. So to find that it was Raphael, I was like completely surprised. Even though I'm pretty sure I saw his name in the synopsis saying that he would appear. So I guess it just never occurred to me, like, how exactly are you going to bring him in after all this time, you know? So there's that. Let's move on to top 3 favorite moments. The first one, Kai Parker, once again, as his final episode for his 2-part return, he did a pretty good job. He got to play a different side of the character while still staying in the very snarky and very like psychotic version that he is. I did love a lot of the interactions between him and Hope. It was really interesting to see that kind of dynamic. I'm also under the impression that Hope remembers who Kai was. I mean, she never met him, so she would never know what he looks like. But because he went into Malivore and came back, and since Hope does remember things that Malivore was meant to erase, I'm under the assumption that she still remembers everything bad that she learned about Kai and just did not have a face to go with it. So that was pretty interesting to see how she kind of interacted with him, and then their whole face-off with each other as well was pretty cool. So that's something there. Another favorite I did have was just seeing Dark Josie. She was all logical. She had a bit of sass with her when she was dealing with Astral Protection Hope. And she was very cool, calm, and collected. I can also see where the hair inspiration came from, because I did see an article from Kaylee Bryant saying that she took a bit of inspiration from Catherine Pierce. And you can see it with the waves in her hair and the curls in her hair. So it's just a pretty spot on there. But it was also just interesting to see the different look and the different way she carried herself. It's just like, it's very interesting. On the one hand, I'm excited to see her, and then at the same time, it's like, I'm very worried about what this could do to like regular Josie. So we'll just have to wait and see about that. But I did like that Dark Josie seemed to be not as restrictive, I guess, in her skill and her knowledge. Essentially, I don't know if the dark magic was meant to like tap into like the closed off parts of regular Josie, but it was an interesting contrast to see for sure. So that's something there. And the third favorite I will say is that I actually like Jade with her humanity on. I mean, Jade was like stereotypical like evil queen type of thing where she had no humanity, but it was very interesting to see that switch happen within her, to see like how she was trying to change, how she was trying to make amends and stuff like that, and her trying to struggle with the bloodlust and everything and just do differently. I really hope we get to see her a little bit more. I'm definitely preferring humanity Jade a lot better than no humanity Jade, just because there's a different side to see like how she is coping with everything as well. Plus, I'm wondering if, because she's technically not 17 anymore, even though she looks it, if Alaric would still allow her to be at the school because of his no vampires over 17 rule type of thing, like chronological age of 17, to avoid a Stefan or a Rebecca situation. So there's that. But let's move on to top 3 peeve moments. One peeve I did have was the fact that Kai remained restrained in that warehouse for as long as he did, and yet he still couldn't get himself out. I mean, I'm pretty sure, like, unless those chains were meant to like to negate any magic, and then Kai was just standing there with no powers, and then like, okay, I can understand that. But otherwise, I'm thinking, if Kai's just standing there all chained up the way he was, if he's access to his magic, why didn't he use it to get free? He has vampire strength, why couldn't he use that? So the only way I can rationalize why he was still able to still stand there by the time Alaric got to him, I'm thinking the chains had to be magic proof somehow. Plus, I'm also wondering, why didn't Hope just stake Kai or snap his neck, or just to ensure that he was still there when she came back to deal with him? Because I know that she had to rush off to either save Landon or stop Alyssa. But that was just a peeve, because I was kind of surprised, like, he's just still standing there. Like, at one point I thought maybe he could have, because it was a while before we saw his face off with Hope and then his last scene in the episode. It was quite a while in between, so I was worried of the possibility that he might have escaped, and then we'd have to worry about Kai being free in the world. So it was just like, yeah, that was a little peeve there. And then I did have another peeve with the fact that we don't get to see Kai interacting with Lizzie. That was definitely one of the ones I wanted to see, just to see how similar or how different they were. Also, just to see how Lizzie would interact with her so-called crazy uncle, and just to see what she could make of it, or what she can make of him. Like, you know what I mean? So that's something there. We definitely won't see that now that he's dead. I'm assuming permanently. But yeah. But let's move on to random questions very quickly. First, in a school full of vampires, why wasn't Dorian on Vervain? That's like, I mean, Kai kind of explained it with the fact that with all the craziness happening around, you might have forgotten to take your Vervain. But I'm like, really? Dorian, you've been teaching at the school for so long. How can you forget to do something like that? Or at least wear it on you. Like, you know what I mean? If you forget to drink it or consume it in any way, just wear it on you in a place where, like, no one would think to do. Like a bracelet would be obvious, but just do like an ankle bracelet or something, because no one would think, because then your socks would protect it, your pants would protect it, your shoes, depending if you're wearing boots or stuff, could protect it, right? But yeah, that was like a little like that's a judgment slip right there. Also, another question. Do you think that something romantic might happen between Josie and Jade when they are both themselves again? I'm kind of thinking maybe, just because with how their last scene in the episode kind of showed that Jade was happy that Josie was back to being herself, and then Josie returned the same sentiment. And just also, they seem to have a connection 10 years ago when Josie was just a kid. Granted, we have to go with the whole age discrepancy thing again, but I thought I saw something there. And I mean, they've already established the fact that they both bat for both sides of the team, right? So it's like, why not? Maybe. I don't know. But I'm open to it. So there's that. Another question. What is it going to take to get the dark magic completely out of Josie? Could Lizzie still feel that black magic inside of her, or is she now completely disconnected from it since Dark Josie siphoned it all out from her? Like, are we going to have to go through a repeat cycle again of all that's happening? But we'll have to wait and see about that. Here's also another question. Maybe I missed it when Raphael was explaining what had happened to him to Alaric in the episode, but I'm wondering if Raphael was taken, was his father, Walt, in any danger? Was it while he was with him, or was it while Raphael was like on his way back to the school that he got kidnapped or something? I might have to go back. I might have to wait for the episode to be online, or for someone to do a review on it that actually features the episode in their reviews. So we'll wait and see, but I'm wondering if Walt's all right. So that's one. And another question is, are we just going to not address the fact that Jed interrupted the elopement of Dorian and Emma? Also, let's put in the fact that, are we just not going to acknowledge the fact that they eloped? Like, are they just considering it like lapse of judgment? It like, that's not official, doesn't count type of thing? Or did they just sweep it all under the rug? Because like, in the one episode, they had Jed interrupting that marriage. And then in this episode, they had Jed like pretty angry over the fact that Alyssa could not stop talking about MG. Even though she admitted beforehand that he was just one of her boy toy things, which I feel bad for Jed about that. But just like, are we not going to address his little interruption in the Cupid episode? So that's something there. But let's move on to predictions very quickly. This will be quick because unfortunately, for episode 214, we're not going to get it until March 12th. So it's a 2-week hiatus break before we get this episode. And it looks like we're going to get possibly a film noir style, maybe the 1940s, all due to a magical simulation. I don't know why they'd be put in that situation to begin with, but it looked pretty cool. They're all dressed like it. It's a black and white style. We see Josie going against Lizzie. We see Raphael confronting Hope about Landon. We see Lizzie fainting in MG's arms after he tells her that someone's after her. So I'm excited. It's going to be pretty cool to see because it's not all in black and white. It does start off in color because we do see Emma explaining that it's a simulation. And then it just cuts into black and white. So it'll be very interesting to see what they're trying to go about with this. But because we're out over 2 weeks out until this episode, there is no synopsis available just yet. So we'll just have to wait anxiously for that episode. But until then, guys, that is pretty much it. So what did you guys think of this episode? What did you guys like about it? What do you think will happen next? Let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear your own thoughts, theories, and opinions about all that good stuff. Also, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and check out my other videos if you haven't done so already. If you want, check out my Tumblr page. The link for that is down below. I read blog promos, web clips, quotes, gifs, synopses, news, all that good stuff, all fun in place. Go check that out. I am behind, not only is school piling up, but I have some unexpected personal things that just came up. And that's taking my time away from adding additional things that I needed to do to the list. So just be happy I'm able to do the video. But it's still on the list of things I need to do. I haven't forgotten it. But there's that. WordPress, again, more organized, more detailed, still work in progress as well. Link is down below. Otherwise, guys, that is pretty much it. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for your patience. I hope you come back in the next few weeks when 214 airs to see what I have to say about the episode. I think it's going to be pretty good, just like cinematically shot or cinematography-wise. It'll be pretty cool. And just to hear the story about how they're able to have this work narratively. So I hope you check back to see what I have to say about that episode. In the meantime, check out my other videos that are up on my channel if there's other shows that I cover that you watch. Also, I will put a recommendation since you do have 2 weeks. I would definitely say, because my personal interruptions has resulted in me spending a lot more time with my family, one of the things that we do to kind of get our minds off of the current situation our family is going through right now is family movie nights. Specifically, we started watching the Netflix series Lock and Key, which got released on February 7th, I believe. So we got through the first half of the season, and it's pretty good. So I definitely, within the 2 weeks that you have a break from Legacies, I definitely say go check that out. It's a pretty cool show. If you get past the whole image of the key in the head thing, then like it's pretty good. It's an interesting concept and everything. I know they tried to do it back in 2011, but I think they did really well. So I definitely suggest Lock and Key. Concept's pretty cool, and also a little scary as well. But yeah, and if you want, comment down below in the comments about what you thought about it. Initially, I would have done a video about Lock and Key, but because of that family situation, I don't know if I'll have time to be able to outside of the school stuff. But otherwise, you could keep an eye just in case. But otherwise, I'm going to leave it at that. I really got to go to bed. So until next time, this is Mel. Wish you all a great day, great week everywhere. Take care, guys. Bye.